it in a mister spray bottle and have been spraying it on my dogs before they go outside. And it seems to be working. I am not finding ticks on them when I remember to spray them. Which is pretty intriguing.
But you do when you don't?
I've been pretty good about it lately, so I haven't.
But they already started hitting this season? I had a tick already.
Big time.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
that's how we would do plants. When I've tried to use frequencies for bugs on plants, put it in a mister and spray it. That seems to be a really good way.
Mm-hmm. Has anyone seen fleas? Yeah. No. Okay.
I use BioCoherence frequencies, but then I haven't really generated the water I've been spraying on, feeding my plants. But the photonics, I just turned the photonics on, running BioCoherence, the fire rate, and these are cut flowers, and they last. When I get them, they're like at the end of their life cycle from the store, or their sales potential, and then I bring them home and they last, I don't know, 3 weeks, a month. Roses, lily works really well.
And Steve, do you mind just explaining again, because I just started the recording too late. Do you mind explaining again how you use the frequencies with the deer ticks?
Yeah, for sure. So I've infused the water that I give to my dogs with the deer tick frequency, but I was still having issues with finding ticks on them. So I decided I was going to try to put that water in a spray bottle, a misting spray bottle, and spraying it on the dogs before they go outside. And usually what happens is they come inside. And I don't see anything right away. And then after, 5-10 minutes, all of a sudden I start finding them on the dogs. But since I've been spraying this on them before they go outside, I have not been finding ticks. So that's really exciting.
Okay. Super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have something to share.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, shall I? Because we have discussed this in the pro team already. So okay, now this is a scan I did yesterday. A scan yesterday. 50% or integral score coherent 50%, right?
Okay.
And then I did yoga. So the question is, I was asked myself, okay, what happened if you do yoga and do another scan?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't know what this is. So this looks like this. 60. So 70 minutes later.
What was the first number, Michael?
50.
50.
50. You went up 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
And the idea behind this is why I'm so fascinated with the system, since I use it, that if I do any practice, whether it's yoga or meditation or you name it, for example, Dan is using a lot of plasma devices and stuff like that, you always have the before and after situation. And I think if you do yoga and you have 60 and before you have 70 minutes before you have 50, it's a very good result.
Yeah.
And it's also a way to explain to the people how different the things are working. Because sometimes, maybe, I'll give you another example, and sometimes you use a system, a practice, whatever it is, or a supplement or whatever, and after a while you have the feeling something is wrong. And then you can do a scan and see, okay, something is not going well here. And because the scan is, or the app is telling you how your inner situation is. The next example I did was this morning. I show you the result. I don't know what this is doing to do, but this is this morning. 38. And you normally would say, oh, that's bad, but I didn't eat anything, only drink tea. So it's not a bad, for me personally, it's not a bad thing because the body is suffering, but it should suffer because then it gets more stronger. So it's the idea behind it, you know.
And it's stabilizing, right? Because it says stabilizing, you're in like a reconstruction phase, maybe?
Yes, a reconstructing phase.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the petals.
Yes,
Yeah.
the petals are well.
Yeah.
And then I had breakfast, wait 15 minutes, and then I had yoga. Okay. Now we see the results of that one. Now this is after food and yoga, right? Today. You see, it's around 1.5 hours later. It's 55.
And you see, it's very interesting because the petals are globally the same. You have a strong base, left and right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the integral score has gone way higher. So it means that globally your energy is in the same position. You are in the same kind of mood, etc. But you are much more effective with this one.
Yeah.
And it's a master number, 55, and you're learning now, right?
Yeah, but I think
That
it's
means after
amazing.
reconstruction, you're adapting to whatever's out there and your body is acclimated.
So my impression is, that's my personal impression.
Why would it go down to 38? Why would it go so low?
I don't have food in the morning.
And he was reconstructing. He was on a down phase of more like taking things apart to restructure. You know, you can't build upon something that's not there. So there's an ebb and flow and an up and down on your cycles. And when you're on a down phase, your numbers will be lower. And that's why it dropped down. And then you see as it stabilizes and then it went to learning, which brings, I think, a value in what those words actually mean when you're reading the charts.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to look at to see where it's at with the petals.
Which is
kind of gives.
like where the resources are and the learning.
Well, if it's a resource, he went from stabilizing on a low number to learning to a high number, which means it's adapting when you look at the codes and how he's got these defined on there. I mean, I think that's important on where it's at in the flower and not to look at it linear. I like how it's a circle because it's not linear. It's like a circle. So it's not good or bad in each of them. Each of them are pertinent for a process. And it's just how well you take care of that process to move out of it to the next thing.
It's super interesting because we still have a lot of things to discover, but I suspect that when we start digging into many recordings and seeing how this integral coherence course evolve, maybe with the day, maybe we will find some cycles, maybe with some kind of events. And Stephen just said when he was fasting, he had also a quite low number. So maybe there is a correlation, but we don't know all that yet. We have a super interesting tool, but we have so many things yet to discover. So it's great.
But it's always for me, it was a reference point to show you guys what you can do in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
It's not longer than 1.5 hours, and you can really go high. So you know, if I retire, I will do yoga every day. That's for sure.
This would be a good. This is a really good example to use for our presentation at the health, because you can show that before whatever they're doing. Here's a measurement. So that's a great sales tool in itself.
Yeah. So maybe Mikhail, if you can send us some screenshots just of the flower before, after, and with a quick comment to say that was before I made that thing or anything, that would be great.
I do.
Now, when I look at my mom's, when it was at 30 in the 30s, at 37, I mean, she had that same thing where it was stabilizing and the learning and the resource and the stabilizing. So basically the same thing that was happening to Michael.
Okay.
Isn't that weird?
Well, you know, another way of looking at this could be that, you know, when you fast, especially for longer than 8 hours, your body goes into immune response, right? It kicks down the immune response on inflammation, and then it starts the other part of your body, the systems start going into recovery. So stabilizing would be a natural effect from the fasting effect, and also my sister just bought a sensor and she flew back to Hawaii and loaded it up on her computer, and did her first scan, and her chakras were not talking to one another. She had a score of 30. I know because I saw the flower.
Mhm.
And then I said, well, do you have time for the personal guide? She says, well, no, she had to go to her son's and daughter-in-law's house to watch the baby for them. So she did the harmonic boost, and right away her IC score went from 30. I don't know exactly what it was, but she said, "Oh my God, my chakras are now talking to one another," and her score improved. I don't have what it improved to. We were just texting at the time. I wasn't on my computer, but she was sending me screenshots, so that does work. But I really think fasting would get whatever systems or resources in your body. They may not have been resources at the time, but now that they're fasting, where you see them in stability mode, that's because, okay, they've knocked down the inflammation, or the markers for inflammation are not present or vibrating right now. And so that allows the overall score to go up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I see it.
It's interesting to see that these two petals, left, right, on the left here is stabilizing, on the right is learning, and you had a strong energy horizontally, which means that you were average in energy, not too low, not too high, but you had a very large span of agitation from not agitated to quite agitated. And so it's probably a very interesting baseline. And if you see other cases like that may be related to fasting, maybe there is something to it. I don't know. We don't have the data yet, but I just find it very interesting.
I mean, it's not the first time that I did this, had this result, because I'm doing normally this 16 hours fasting. I do only 4 days in a week. I don't want to go to extremes. No extreme situation is good for the body, but I have this situation again and again. But this time I want to have yoga for an hour, and I want to see, okay, before and after. And it's 10%, and it's amazing result, I think. And even for the yoga teacher, they can say, oh, your integral score is going up.
Yeah, it's great.
Medrick, on that chart, there was 2 lines on there. You said the bottom one is, you could define it as agitation.
Yeah.
And what was
so
what was the vertical?
You know the flower is divided in 9, and vertically you have the energy, and horizontally you have the agitation. Okay, and so this part is quite stable, you see, and here the waves are like a higher tide. Okay, and so this is not agitated. Things are very calm on this side, and this is much more agitated. And here this is very energetic, and this is not very energetic. That's why this one is named static, for instance, and this one is named destabilizing, because it's both very agitated and very energetic. So that's what the petal means. And by the way, you should have some. No, not here. You should have some information when you open the biomarker panel, or in the book anyway. But this configuration, very horizontal, is pretty interesting. So
yeah, on my phone, I haven't noticed those bottom waves on there.
Yeah,
So
it's just a visualization to remember that this is more a flat part, and this is more a very more dynamic part, where things are moving with higher amplitude.
And then above that, how would you, those little squares on there, how would you
This one?
describe those?
Okay, so this is specifically for prevalence, because in prevalence you have every biomarker in your system that are affected to the different petals or the different type of attention, intention, and so on. And so here you have the global distribution of petals, of biomarkers across the vertical line, which means very agitated, very energetic or not energetic at all. And here, very calm to very agitated. And so this is okay, I forgot the name. It has a name, the technical chart that I just forgot. But anyway, it's the repartition of the different biomarkers between, so how many very calm, a little less calm, and so on you have, and how many very not energetic to very energetic you have. So in this recording, for instance, what you can immediately see is that almost all biomarkers are in the most energetic state. And so this is something that you can see in one go. You can see maybe the curve would be more skewed towards low energy states. Or you can see that you have some very energetic and some very not energetic. And all of this can give you a kind of quick overview of what happens in the system of the person you are currently analyzing.
So, could you explain the dot with the circle in it above the resource petal?
This?
Yes.
Yes. So this is average of all the energy gives us vertical position, and the average of all the agitation gives us the horizontal position, like that. And so this point shows average of all biomarkers. And it can give you an evolution if you take another recording with several, sorry, let's take another one. I'm not sure it's computed, but okay, so all in the same place. When you do several recordings and reevaluations, you will see several points, and you can see how this average is evolving with time. In general, the closer you go to the center, the best it is. But you can be more energetic than that. So being in the top of the energy is, of course, totally fine. And being around the middle of the agitation is usually the best place. And so you can see that the point will move because the average of all biomarkers for each section, each reevaluation will move at different places. And you can see that people are more agitated or less agitated, more energetic or less energetic, just by seeing where this point is going.
So if the dot moves right now, in that scan, it's similar with the high energy for your resources.
Yes.
So, but if the dot moves further to the left, in other words, closer to the vertical line, maybe I'm confused. I would think that the less entropy, neg entropy you have,
yes,
towards neg entropy, I should say, that would be a better score. But you said that if you are in the center of the entropy line.
It depends what you want to do. Sometimes you need to have some agitation because you are in a learning phase or you are in a building phase. Life is construction, destruction, compression, expansion, always. Okay, so you cannot always be in a very static state and very aligned and very zen and so on. Otherwise, you become a monk, but you do nothing in life. Okay, you just meditate, but you do nothing. So maybe you are in a very good mood yourself, etc., but you don't interact with people, etc., etc. So you need to expand. And to expand, you need some more agitation, more energy. Okay.
Tension to evolve.
Exactly. So life is always a cycle like that. So at some point you will need to have some more agitation, and at some point you will want to be centered and very calm because you are more in a phase of integration and compression. Okay. So always compression, expansion.
And Medrick and Dan, are you saying the agitation then is like entropy? Dan? Is that what?
Yes.
you were-
It's negentropic. Entropy is the extreme right of the chart.
Exactly.
And then negentropy means not chaotic, is the left, extreme left of the
Yes.
chart. So that would be the Zen moment.
Yes.
ING and
Right.
full negentropy.
But you see, if you take that as a wave and you are a boat, sometimes you want to just rest in a nice creek and enjoy the sun and be on the left on a sea that has no waves at all. But sometimes you want to race, or you want to build something, or you want just to make some sport, and you will be better in a mood where there are some more waves. So again, this depends on what you want to achieve right now.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier too with the low numbers, is that ebb and flow of the wave. You know, like a crystal is stagnant, it doesn't move, but everything's in order. And in order to create that movement and change, you have to take things apart to put it back together. And that's, yeah. So yeah, I like that with the agitation defined as an entropy, negentropy. That's rich. That sounds good.
In fact, in the first version of the software, it was actually called entropy. And then we decided that entropy was a little bit too technical. So we just named it agitation because it was more common for everyday people. But the first name was actually entropy.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, I have found that, you know, not besides looking in the mirror before I do a scan, I have found that if you set an intention to do the scan, and even if you just set the intention to get a realistic view of my body's energetic state, you know, I very rarely drop below 50 in my scans. They usually pop up in the 60s. So, you know,
It's
if I'm preloading, in other words, I'm psyching out, but
no, you know, it's a very important remark that you make. When you start doing something, anything, be it a scan, be it just saying hi to someone, doing course or doing the food or anything, when you set an intention, immediately everything will change inside you. You know, if you are thinking about something, about war, about someone that you were angry with or anything, you will feel your body that will physically compress, and you will feel oppression and so on, and that will be almost immediate. Okay. So that's the power of intention on what will happen in your body, and that it's actually a very, very important remark. And maybe we didn't address that enough until now. But before doing a recording, just take a deep breath and state that you want this recording to reflect what needs to be reflected. You know, because your body will talk, and we will record what your body is saying. Okay. So if your body is just reflecting that you are very angry with someone, you will see a lot of biomarkers that are related to that state. But maybe that's not what you want to achieve in the next 21 days, you know? So
yeah,
with your customers, you have to take a little bit of time before the recording, especially the first recording that will define the next 21 days, and say, okay, just center yourself, be in your head, and just focus on what you want to achieve in the next months. And we will start the recording in 5 seconds. Okay. And you let people just take a breath, and then you start the recording. Okay.
well,
yeah.
you know,
If I could speak something to that too quick. Go ahead, Dan.
well, another thing that I tell people, and regardless whether they're getting a scan or not, is I say, be careful what you say. And I say, you know, especially when they're, you know, in front of me or a phone or whatever, I say, you know, I'm not worried that you're going to offend me by what you say. That's not what I'm saying. But who's listening? And it's your body is listening, your subconscious, and it's going to try its level best based on all the resources it has at that time to do what you say, because every time you speak, you're spelling something.
Yeah.
And that I find that, I run into that I bump up against the wall and that every time when I'm not cognizant of that. Because it doesn't matter, even if you're thinking it internally, be careful what you say.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
because you
matter
are
of
stating
touch
an
on
intention
things.
anyway. Yeah, sorry, TJ, go.
Yeah. Well, so in the sessions that I do, I find when you're measuring the energy field and the chakras and going into that, your state and your energy field is spinning differently depending on what you're thinking about at the certain time.
Yeah.
So if you're coming in and you're balancing the person before you're doing the scan, it's going to read their field at a higher level, which maybe isn't providing the code or the reception of some of the healing process. And for extraction work on clearing the energy field, for a while I was practicing it inspired by Gurdjieff, which his philosophy was that you needed to shake or shock, I believe was one of the words they translated it as, like the shock, where you disrupt the person so it makes them put their guard down and like their nice pretty face and smile and everything, so you can kind of pull the heavier energies out. So I find sometimes when I scan, do we really want them in a balanced state, in a good state? Because when you're happy, you're not necessarily like when you're, what you said, this is what I want to do today too, go line in the creek. That's not the time that you're at a place of healing where you need to be healed. When your healing is when, like, if you want to challenge your happiness and your joy state, go into a crowd of people. Right, start interacting with a lot of people, that where all those reflections are. Yeah, it's easy to be by yourself, but when other people are bringing those reflections and everything else, it's going to bring out your triggers and everything. So I guess what I'm saying is sometimes, and this could be tested with these charts like we did today, and I'm inspired to do that, and Steve likes the idea here, but maybe what I would do when somebody like test people for certain readouts depending on their state, like when I'm testing somebody on their chakras and their energy field and they're all balanced because they're in a good spot, I'll like try and break it down to their I'll cut it in half. So I'll ask them what they like better, their mom or their dad, and most people have a quick answer. And then I test them thinking about their, if they say, oh, I like my dad better, then I would test them thinking about their mom. And almost always, sometimes you have to go to the grandpa. It's all a metaphor of digging deep, if it doesn't change. But almost always on that first one, someone with a perfect balance reading will expose where their imbalance is. So I guess what I'm saying, if you're balancing someone first and, kind of masking their imbalances because they're in a happy state, sometimes you can't access all those vibrations that are there to be mitigated. So, I mean, I hope that makes sense if I'm explaining that clearly.
No, it's super interesting. Yeah. Super interesting. And maybe we should provide some general guidelines before doing a recording directly in the app. That gives me this idea.
That's why I tell them to look in the mirror, open your eyes and look in the mirror, right? Just before you do the scan, while you're washing your hands. It doesn't matter what you say, because when you look in your eyes, that is going to bring up, whether you're conscious of it or not, because all of it's going to bring up everything, right? It would be just like TJ says when he's asking questions, right? Again, I'm hesitant to use verbal language because you're spelling a person, right? But that will bring up the traumatic or the positive or whatever. I mean, that's a really good practice. I'm just hesitant of it because of the spelling factor. But when you open your eyes and look into them, you're looking into your soul, and your soul's going to reflect whatever it is that you're feeling or doing or thinking or saying, or without saying it. And that's just a way to do it without getting to open up and talk. So people may not want to.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the mirror thing is a great way to get into the subconscious and everything and balance, not necessarily talking. But, I mean, with that being said, I do find that most people, when they come in there and get a test, try and be the happiest they can. And that just may not be the most efficient, for the mechanism and function for healing, because everyone wants a better reading. So it's like, oh, I'm going to,
It's exactly like if you go to the doctor and the doctor asks, okay, what's the problem? And you say, no, everything is fine, doctor. Then what's the point of going to the doctor? So it's true.
I always say, can you talk to your higher self?
That's good too.
What's the answer? And can you communicate with your higher self? And you can douse that, you can muscle test it in a lot of different ways. And when you can't, obviously there's other imbalances in there that the scan should be able to show. And if it is, then you're in that mode that if everything is balanced, then another word may be the right trigger. And whether you look in the mirror or not, just asking that can be wonderful to teach people that.
Okay, so maybe we should come up with some different techniques to show to the user when they start doing a recording and saying, okay, you can either do that or that or that, and add a little bit of text before the recording. That would be useful.
That's a great idea. Is there any way that, like with the brain waves and like the wounds and stuff? I mean, I don't, the chart, the information, the manual, when you click on the question mark and go like to wounds or brain waves, it shows you a petal. But is there any way to put like the bar, right, for gamma or theta or alpha, beta, whichever one, right? Sometimes, the first three are, almost blasting off the screen, and then you go over and look at the other ones, and they may be 50% or gamma may be 20% or but it's not, I don't know how accurate. I mean, it's not that it's not accurate. BioCoherence is scanning however it is, but if I use a comparative scan analysis from, say, Flame and Mind, the percentages that show up, even if I convert them to bar graphs, are not the same as BioCoherence. So I'm wondering, I know that all of these are energetic states, but and maybe it's just because I'm too much in my head, but I'd like to get a better reading. So, gamma, because my gamma bar can be in the bar. If this is full and the gamma's there, say around 40%, I can do a bunch of scans and come back, and that bar very rarely changes. Now, when I get into another form of analysis, a different scan, I see the change. So, I don't know, maybe I'm asking the wrong question, but in other words, how can you drill down on that? Or thanks, TJ. I'll just let it go with that then.
So how could it not be at some point that all those things that we have to interpret, why couldn't the AI give us a summation of when we look at the flower and we're seeing all this stuff, you could click on it and have AI give you the interpretation of what we're seeing? Or if the chakras are out of alignment, can it tell us a suggestion to put this back in line? Or if we're looking at the emotional areas of the stuff in our emotional stuff, can it give us some basic answers?
That's why we have different AI helpers, because you will ask the yoga teacher, for instance, if you want answers related to yoga, but you will ask the TCM practitioners if you want answers related to TCM, whatever the screen you are on. But I think what Dan was saying was twofold. One is how to compare the BioCoherence results with other devices. And the second one is why are my results not moving? Is that right, Dan?
Yes, you
are. Okay, so for the first one, it's actually a very tricky question. How do we compare the BioCoherence results with other devices? The basic answer is I don't really know, because I don't know exactly what different algorithms these other devices use. So it's very hard to say, hey, we have a widely different way of computing these results, and I don't really know the way that they use in their system. And so I'm not in position to say why it's consistent or not with other devices. And I know it's not a very satisfying answer, but to have a really satisfying answer, I should know exactly how they compute it to know if the comparison is even possible or not. So that said, the specific screen you mentioned, which is a brain, is a bit of a stretch of what we do in BioCoherence because we don't actually measure the brain waves. So if you compare what we do in BioCoherence with what you can do if you actually measure the real brain waves, of course, you will have much more accurate results with a device that measures your actual brain waves. What BioCoherence gives you is the general energetic allocation of your brain towards these different frequency bands. Okay, so it's actually a good thing that you are very consistent across your different recordings, because it shows that each time we do a new recording and a new recomputation from scratch with BioCoherence, we tend to find the same results because it is your constitution, it is your way of working somehow. Okay, and you will find some variations, but these variations might be in a very low span. And maybe that's your concern too, is that if your gamma, for instance, is always around 15% in your global energetic repartition, and sometimes it goes to 17, and sometimes it goes to 12, and you don't see it on the screen, and I don't understand that. Okay, so maybe we have to find a way to show how different it is from your baseline. That would be probably something very interesting for you. We could, at some point, we should compute a baseline of every recording that you did with BioCoherence to say, okay, so globally, your energy is in that span, and in the span of 6 months, for instance, you had an evolution of that kind of percentage on that kind of biomarkers. So that will come later, okay? A kind of long view of everything that you did. And once we have this long view and your global baseline, it would be interesting to say, hey, today, these biomarkers are widely different from your global baseline. And that would be very, very interesting thing to know, okay? And maybe at that point, we can say, okay, normally your gamma is 15% of your global energy, but today it's 20%. It means that you are very strong in your gamma, even if it's not the strongest one of your of all the what's happening in your brain. But I think having this individual baseline would be an answer for you.
Yeah, and this too, Medrick.
Yeah.
This just reminds me of college athletes and stuff, and being a competitive athlete. I mean, I think there's a strong, I mean, people that really know their bodies and where they're at. I think this is like a brilliant thing. I think the average person may not have that appreciation of where they're at in the day,
Mhm.
you know, but people like precision athletes, competitive athletes, where there's like, they're measuring their performance, maybe by fractions of weight or
Yeah.
speed or seconds. They know where they're at and
Yeah.
things, and this would.
So that's something I want to go to, and it's another layer of things that we should add on top of BioCoherence. So that's why it's not yet there, but that's part of the future development. Being able to, and it answers somehow what Steve asked a few minutes ago. Do we need to do reevaluations, or do we need to do some new recordings? Doing new recordings gives you a whole new set of priorities. So it gives you a quick overview of everything you have to address. And doing reevaluations just shows you the curves of what you are currently working on. But reevaluation should be done within maximum 1 month, or 21 days of the initial recording. What I want to achieve now is take all of your recordings since 1 year or since 2 years that you use the app, and give you a general trend and a general baseline of everything that you are.
Would it be all right if I asked another question if nobody else wants to speak?
Go.
So when I wake up in the morning, and this is just something, a practice that I've started within the last couple months. And it's so when I wake up in the morning and I go through my normal routine, but right when I get out of bed, besides spelling my day, which I have some mantras I say, I ask my body, I feel into my body and say, well, what does my body need or feel like doing today? Right. And so that's why I kind of brought that up uh, with the brain, but also with wounds and emotions, right? I don't understand how those work, right? But I'm always asking my body, what does it need? And then I'm using BioCoherence, the feedback, because that's feedback from my body, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see if I can get a handle on it and understand, because I think that would be very beneficial for the clients that I have, right? And, so far, some of the people are starting to, come back, right? Where I've got training sessions coming up. So I don't know if that's possible or you can do that. And my computer is telling me my internet is not stable. So I don't even know if you're hearing this right now.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
That's all I have to say. And maybe if you could chime.
You say chime in?
So is that possible, Metric? I mean, is that something that the software's already doing? Like, I don't understand wounds or, with I understand water, earth, air, fire, I understand those concepts as based in alchemy or whatever, but I don't understand how the system BioCoherence identifies them. And sometimes they don't have a circle around them, like rejection. Rejection, if you look at it, that may be huge, but it doesn't have a circle around it.
Yeah. So I'm aware that the one screen needs to be reworked because it's not very clear. So I know that, and it's somewhere on the to-do list, but the to-do list is big. But I know I have to work on it to make it much more easy to read.
Yeah, same thing with emotions. Wounds and emotions use a similar format.
Okay. Okay, so meanwhile, I don't know if you started looking at what the AI helper started writing for Coherence Today, but every day they write new articles, and frankly, they are amazing. They find some very, very interesting studies, and so it will start collecting a lot of studies about how sound. So this is pure sound, okay? Pure sound working on Alzheimer. This is an official study, and this is fresh from today, I think. But every day they start one or several of the AI helpers write some very interesting posts. This one is from yesterday, I think.
Does it allow us to repost those? Is there a quick way to do that, or?
Yes, exactly. There is. Thank you. Let me share my brother. Which one is it? Maybe this one. Okay. So when you click on the little browser icon on the bottom of the app, it will open the Coherence.today website. So this is now open for the public, Coherence.today. It's available in our all our languages, so 21 languages. Everything is translated, including if you, as a pro, start writing things, your writings will be translated for every users. Okay, and all of this can be read online and shared online in a very nice way because. Okay, what did I want to say? Yeah, we are adding buttons to share directly on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., directly from the website. And you have a lot of links like keywords, and these keywords are related to every structure and stimulus and biomarker that we have into BioCoherence. So for instance, if you go to, I don't know, energy and mind structures memory, you will find the description that we have in BioCoherence, and you will find a list of posts that we can find on Coherence Today that could be written by AI helpers or that could be written by you. So that's the same for everything that we have here. So let's.
So are those all downloadable too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So all of these all of these posts are public, and it was my focus since 2 weeks to make it very easy to find through Google or other search engines, to be shared on social networks, and to be found by LLMs like ChatGPT or Grok or anyone. So we are working on it, and I think it will give a lot of visibility to BioCoherence and to you as a professional. And so you go to body structures, parasympathetic, for instance. Okay, this one is not easy to read. So we have to work on some of the images. So if you click on body structures, you will find all the body structures that we have in BioCoherence. And all of these have a little, have an image, have the biological decoding and general explications that we have in BioCoherence. And when they start having each of them a post, you will find the posts here. So that will give a lot of information to users to discover what we can do with BioCoherence. And again, each time you write a post into BioCoherence, an AI will read it, translate it, and tag it with all the tags related to the structures or the emotions or the TCM recipes that you are talking about. So I think this will probably be huge for BioCoherence discovery. Another thing is that it will be linked to your Pro Directory entry. It means that if we go to a user profile, let's use Christine's profile, for instance. So you can see that every professional can have a profile here. And if you enhance your profile with products, you will find here your specialties, the languages that you speak, everything that you wrote, of course. And if you have some public offers and people are logged in, because people need to be logged in to see your actual prices, people could pay online or get to your website to pay for one session with you. Okay, so you can have several offers, like, for instance, one session in your office, one remote session, and one basic reading of your recordings that is not in real time, but that you send back to the user with some conclusions and maybe a tweak of their priorities and maybe adding some stimuli, etc., etc. And for all of this, you set your price, and people will be able to pay online through us, and you will get the money. But we will take care of the billing of the user, and you will just have to set up the actual appointment with them, knowing that they already paid for it.
Could you show us how, because I'm having problems importing scans, because I never know if it's importing the scan that's saved on the device or because I'm having challenges with my scans on explorations that have more.
Okay, so just maybe before we change the subject, if anybody has something to say about Coherence Today, yeah.
Is that through a browser then on the internet?
Yeah.
Or inside
so
the app?
what I'm showing here, you just enter coherence.today on your browser, and you will find it.
Coherence Today?
Yeah.
Is the website?
Coherence.today. So it's not yet referenced in Google, etc. It will be in a few days because we were still fixing things.
And what is the top level domain?
coherence.today.
Okay.
Yeah. I can just paste it in the chat if you want.
It's opening up. Yeah, great.
Yeah. So we still have some things to tweak. There are still some work to do. That's why it's not yet public on Google, but it will be in a few days. So
can you show us how to put these posts like on my website or to maybe to my
yeah, so all of the posts that you write will be easy to put on your. Oh, sorry. I think your connection was bad. Do you want to finish?
Well, there it is. My laptop is
I would,
picking it up.
you know,
Sorry.
I'll just
Okay, so your sound is okay. So Dan, I think I understood what you asked. You were asking if you can put this post on your website. That's something that will appear in a few days. Here is a possibility to embed the posts that you all of your posts or one specific post on your website. And in that regard, you can use the Coherence Today publication tool to update your website if you want, because we will give you just one line of code that you have to paste on your website, and this line of code will create a space on your website where people can find all your latest posts, your showcase, and a link to your profile if people want to take an appointment with you. So it will be very easy. You will have to just copy one line of code into your website, and after that, you can manage all of your posts directly from the BioCoherence app. And your question was how to publish it? Or...
Well, not just how to publish it, but how to like I'm going to start up with Gaia Architect Plus, and that's really going to explode. But I want to be able to post like on the homepage the AI helper stuff, because those people are already using AI, and
Yeah.
it's non-tokenized data. But I on Architect, but I want to put BioCoherence in there.
Yeah,
I've
sure.
got two already. I have BioCoherence and I have Holistic Ways Back.
Yeah,
in there.
and so we will provide a few scripts to just embed, for instance, a list of latest posts or a list of latest posts, including one specific tag, or from a certain author like you, or like a specific AI helper. So you will be able to just make a selection and embed this, and it will be updated automatically each time people visit your website. And when there are new posts, it will be automatically embedded. And from the app, so to write, you need to go to the app and to go to your social profile or Coherence Today, and you just click on plus, and you can start writing something. And in the latest version, you have a very interesting selector here. You stay on draft while you are still drafting, still working on it. Okay. When you are ready to publish, you can publish it in public, or you can publish it only in the app. So it will not be on the website, not be in your website. It will be only for the users of the app. Or conversely, it can be only on the website, but not in the app. So that's more for if you are writing some marketing posts that are not intended to the app users, but to the general public. Okay. Or it can be only for your followers or only for your customers. Okay. And your sound is off, Dan. No, okay. So
That's what I was asking.
yeah, okay. So when you are ready, you can go public, or you can go, for instance, only for your customers, and you put some private tips for my beloved customers, and you share some things that you want only your customers to see, and that will again add some value and add some relationship between you and your coming community. It can be your followers, so anybody can be your follower, but of course your customers are only your customers.
Yeah, I just pretty much send people right now to the BioCoherence webpage, because even though that takes away some of my some of my, it adds to my value, but it doesn't add to my profit. But
It does, because we are sending back the customers to you then.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that, but I mean, it frees up some of my time because they can go to the Facebook page, and I say, use the search feature. If you have a specific question, use the search feature to pull up Medrick or Steven or Jeff or TJ or Laura, anybody talking about what works for them on that subject. You may not get all of those people, but you'll get and that works. That's very good.
Yeah.
That keeps people interested. And then when they have questions, they reach back out to me. Of course, I just need to be a better used car salesman, I guess, to make that work. But anyway, thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
I need to leave because I have another Zoom meeting in 3 minutes. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you, Medrick. Stephen, maybe I'm going to reach out to you again, and we can maybe discuss a date if that's all right with you. Anyway, love you all. Bye.
Bye. And TJ, you had something?
Yeah, when you're on the Coherence today,
Yeah.
is that, and it's asking to log in, is that already connected to the app?
What, sorry?
It's asking to log in?
Yeah. No, it's you don't have to log in. It's an option, but
Well, yeah, but no, I mean, is that already?
It has a sign-in button in the top right.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's connected to the app to our.
Yeah, it's the same login as the app, but frankly, right now it doesn't give you anything to log in on Coherence today. It will give you the ability to like and to comment, but right now it's just publishing, so you don't yet have the social tools to like and comment directly on the website. You can do it in the app, but you cannot do it yet on the website.
Okay. Yeah, because when I log in, it doesn't have anything really for me yet.
Again, I'm still working on it, so
Okay.
yeah.
So anything that we plug in the BIOS on the app, will it just go right to that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Coherence today. Okay, so I probably broke something. I'm still working on it, so.
No, that's exciting though. I like it. I'm just getting set to and starting to move my practice onto my laptop here so I could type things, and I have some writing stuff and things I got ready for you. So awesome.
What did I do?
That's good
Okay.
stuff.
I know what I do.
And I'm ready to start some I'll start some of those trials too if anybody else wants to get together, I guess, just to look at charts. If we start to do like some data collection for this. So one thing that I was thinking too with Michael, with the food thing, maybe if there's like an easy thing to look at. I know it's like quite extensive, but I'm curious to see like somebody maybe that's dabbling with like meat or dairy or cheese or something, like where you could do a test and get a reading on some things and then eat the food and then see, oh, like here's 3 tests before and after eating like a steak or eating a piece of fruit, to see, and like maybe you're have like some kind of allergy on corn or something like that.
Yeah.
So that would be a nice and quick way to look at that, because I think a lot of people that would be really good for a lot of people. I think people look into that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always available. I have time, so if you
Yeah.
want to have a meeting, let me know.
Sure.
And you know my time zone, Berlin time zone, so easy.
Okay. Yes. So did you hear that? So Medrick,
Yeah.
did you hear that?
Sorry, I was trying to fix what I broke while I was. I shouldn't modify things during the
I was
calls.
thinking if there's an easy way to read changes before and after meals to do readings on food sensitivities and things that are good for people to show people if something's having a positive effect.
I think having some screenshots of before and after any intervention is a good thing. It's very effective, and it's a good way to explain how the system works. You mean for the conference?
Oh no, I was saying just in general.
Yeah.
Like in doing a test, like testing certain food, like what Michael showed earlier, just with his fast, but like doing one for specific foods, like every time I eat dairy or something, like this is some trends, but what data points to look at in the app, maybe we have a digestive one or something, or if there is something to simplify it, just because there's so much there.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like, how do we look at it in a simple way to have a comparison?
I get it. I think, as you say, there is a lot of information, and it will take time to really refine some very specific use cases, and we will discover all of this together. In fact,
okay. Yep.
It will be just by using it that we will. I mean, it can be frustrating that we don't have all the answers yet, but I think it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, it's quite extensive, but true. It's like, and that's where I think Michael's expertise comes in well too, or Jeff with a lot of the food stuff. It's like, what biomarkers would we look at to evaluate the efficiency of food and eating anything?
Yeah.
That would be a nice single click to have.
Okay.
More clicks, that's what we need.
So, Merrick, you close the recording?
No, but I can.